Hey, hello guys, welcome back. So in this video, I will show you how to create an ECS cluster. So if you see here, I have logged into my AWS account. I am currently in North Virginia. So you can see in the recently viewed services, you can see Elastic Container Services. If you don't find it here, in the search bar, you can type ECS and the service comes up here. Click on it. So guys, ECS basically stands for Elastic Container Services, which is designed and developed by Amazon. You will not find this service in other public clouds. It is a native to AWS. So let's get started. So on the left hand side, you have this option called clusters. You can go ahead and create a cluster. Click on create cluster. So you have various cluster options. One, networking only, so which we call as a Fargate. Okay, meaning AWS is giving us an option where you do not have to worry about managing the EC2 instances as well. Okay, so I will talk about this service later in a different video, but for now I would like to cover this second option, which is EC2 Linux plus networking. So in this, it will create a cluster. If you want, it can create a VPC for you, or you can use default VPC followed by auto scaling groups and load balancers. So for now, I'll select this option. So recently, they also gave you option of provisioning Windows servers as well. Okay. So I'll go with Linux instance. Click next. So here are certain details that you would like to provide. So go ahead and give the name. I'll say Mastering Cloud Demo Cluster. And provisioning model, like we have various pricing models in Amazon. Like we have on demand, just a moment, on demand, reserved and spot. So these are the pricing models which Amazon offers us. So depending on the requirement, you can go ahead and choose it. So for now, I will go with on demand. Instance types, so you can select whichever best suits your option. So but in our case, we can go with the free tier instance, which is T2 micro. Okay, and number of instances. So ideally, when we say cluster, we will have minimum 2 instances, and again, depending on the requirement, you can go ahead and select the desired number that you want. AMI IDs. So Amazon is giving you this default AMI, but you also have an option of selecting your own AMIs as well. Root volume is 30 GB. And for these instances, like since we are going to provision 2 instances, would you like to enable SSH? If yes, then use the key. So I already have this key, which is NVDemo, which I'll be using it. Networking. So Amazon gives us 2 options. One, you can go with creating a new VPC, which is specially for this given cluster, or you can use your existing VPC as well. So I will go with using the existing VPCs. And once VPC is selected, it will show you all the subnets available in the given VPC. So it is recommended to at least choose minimum 2 subnets, and more the better. Okay, and auto SN public IP. So ideally, our instances will always be behind the load balancer, and in the production environment, it's not recommended to use a public IP since we are testing and it is just for you to understand the service better. I will enable this option where our 2 instances will get public IP address assigned. Security group, go ahead and select the existing security group or create one if you would like to have a new one. So I am going with the existing one. And instance roles. So roles are basically allowing our instances to talk to other services. If in case your EC2 instances wants to download some data from S3 or write some data into S3, if your application is of that sort, and you would need to assign permission to the EC2 instance, and by using roles, we assign we provide that roles to our EC2 instances. Would you like to have tags? Maybe yes. So tags are best way to segregate the instances based on the product, project, teams, and all. And also, it plays a very major role in identifying the cost-related aspects in your cloud accounts. So name, I would give Mastering Cloud VM. And would you like to enable insights to your cluster, meaning monitoring, like you want to monitor the CPU, memory, number of containers running inside the cluster? Yes. And then finally create. So this will take some time, okay, for creation of cluster, because it has to provision instances for you. It is going to provision 2 instances, and we can see all the details here. So in the backend, it is creating a auto scaling group for you. The launch configuration is already defined. The security group that we have already given. Yes, looks like our cluster is created real quick. Now click on view cluster. So our cluster is ready, guys. So I'll go back to the cluster so that you see the cluster looks like. So currently I have one cluster, and inside that, there are Fargate, EC2 and external. So now currently you do not see any data here because it will take some time to pop up those data. And here are things like here it is giving you detailed information, and if you want to change the view, you can change the view by clicking on list. So in case if you have multiple clusters in your environment, this is the best method. Like list is a good option for you to view all of them like this. Okay, so let's wait for the instances to come up. We can see number of container instances are 2. So, and here once you get inside the cluster, you have various tabs. I'll tell you what each of these tabs usually is for. But now let's look at the instances. See, now these are the instances and they are active. Sometimes due to like network issues, or maybe because of the ports not opening between the cluster and EC2 instances, or some VPC configurations, so this status might not be active. Maybe in that case you will have to troubleshoot. Okay, so I think I have just talked about how to create a cluster. Okay, so in the next video I will show you how do we create our containers or provision containers in our given cluster. Thank you.